Okay, so I'm going to talk about file synchronization and sharing and the way that Acronis helps companies to provide these services to their users in a secure way. So let's start with how do we define synchronization and sharing? What is it? Why do we do it? So simply put, synchronization and sharing of files is saving our documents, our files or folders to a network location somewhere where we can access it, somewhere in a private or public cloud. We can then choose to keep local copies of that information on different devices, and this is the synchronization part. So we can have our, for example, this presentation, in case I have some issues, I put this in a secure place. I can access it from different devices. I can access it through a browser if I need to, on a different PC. So we can choose to keep different copies, and that's the synchronization part. We can also choose to give access to that data to other people or other groups of people, and this is the file sharing piece. As my colleague before me said, this is the next generation. This is what people are used to in their private lives, that they create copies and then give access to those copies to different people, and this is the file sharing. Why do we do it? We do it to improve collaboration between people. You know, if you are sitting with a customer or a business partner and you need to share a lot of presentations, large files, you know, today you are used to doing it the way we do it at home. You drag some files into a folder, you share that folder. Excuse me. Okay, this is not going to be easy. And why do we do it? We do it because it helps us to improve, become more efficient. And this is really not efficient. We have remote access to our data. We have access to our data from smartphones, from... Okay, I'm going to just... Okay, I'm just going to leave it like this. And we become more productive in our jobs when we have efficient ways to share documents with companies. So we need to put them in a location, like I mentioned. And the question is that location typically safe? Excuse me for a second. Okay. Do you have a PC? I have this on a memory stick. Do you have another PC? I can just plug this into your laptop. Just excuse me for 1 minute. Okay. Okay, excuse me, you have to kind of bear with me with this technical issues. So, yeah, okay. So we have to keep that data somewhere in a location, and you know, typically when we think about file sharing, we think of things like Dropbox or Google Drive or iCloud, and we all know the challenges with those services. I think some have been. Sorry, the connection is cutting out. I have it on the desk. It's cutting in and out. Okay, I'm going to continue. So we all heard these stories about iCloud, the hacking, and you know, this is actually helping our business, I have to say. It's not nice for the stars and the people that it happened to, but it is helping Acronis sell more of our solutions. So this is one location, and obviously we now know that public cloud locations are not necessarily safe. Those type of consumer-grade services are not giving any SLAs, any type of guarantee that the data will be accessible, that it will not be hacked. You know, Dropbox, for example, last year, for 4 hours, did not require any passwords to log into that system. So anyone could log into anyone's system. So how are companies addressing that? There was a report that came out last year which said that 99% of the Fortune 500 companies do not allow their employees to use public file sharing systems. So this is one way they are addressing it. They are banning it. Unfortunately, that ban is not really successful, because when the analysts interviewed the employees, they discovered that 50% of the employees were actually using those type of systems, and the IT departments just didn't know about it. And I have to say, I'm kind of an example of this. In the previous company where I worked, we also were not allowed to use Google Docs, iCloud, and so on. But I had a file that I needed to share with my team where we worked together, and we needed to update this file. It related to opportunities and deals and projects that we were working on. And because we were geographically in different locations, it was difficult to share this file. It was an Excel file. At the beginning, we sent it by email. And I don't know if you have this experience, but sending an Excel file to 7, 8 people by email and everyone is making updates very quickly became impossible to work with. We lost the ability to track changes, which version was the most recent version. So actually we just put it into Google Docs and we kept this file there, and it worked very well. And it was very efficient, and 2 years after leaving this company, I still have access to this file. Which is probably, and I'm sure the IT department of that company has no idea that this exists. Which is a good example of the way, if we don't proactively give this functionality and features to users, they will find a way to get there themselves, right? And we do have, when we look at file sharing, the challenge is combining or bridging kind of two different worlds. So we have the IT world, where we have Active Directory, we have backup, we have firewalls, we have authentication, we have encryption, we have all these things that companies are used to. Then on the right, we have the users world, where we drag and drop files, we share very easily, we want access from various devices, we want to synchronize to iPhones and iPads, and we need to bridge kind of that gap. And the way we bridge that gap, we tried as Acronis, is with a solution we call Acronis Access, and to give that kind of functionality that the users are looking for, but do it in a secure corporate way. This was a solution originally developed a number of years ago, I think it was 6 or 7 years ago, for a major global bank as a custom project, and then it evolved into a standalone solution. And let's see if I managed to do this, show you a 1-minute clip related to of Acronis Access.
Your job is to protect and secure your organization's sensitive data and provide your users with an easy way to access, sync, and share their data, content, and files. Acronis Access is right for you. Acronis Access is the most comprehensive way to access, sync, and share data that balances your users' need for simplicity and productivity with the security, management, and compliance your organization demands. It delivers flexible security and management controls with the advanced Acronis policy engine integrated with Active Directory. Moreover, it runs on-premise so that you have total control over where your information is at any time, and includes in-depth audit logging of user activities. Acronis Access offers the best in-class performance and security accessing and synchronizing data, including encryption for data in transit and at rest, and FIPS 140-2 certification. It also provides an incredibly clean, easy-to-use, and intuitive mobile client user interface. Acronis Access, new generation data protection, powered by any data technology.
Okay, so with all this modern technology, we are still not able to show the full display picture of my laptop on the projector. Basically, what Acronis Access is a gateway that we put between the resources that you have in the company and the client on the devices that users want to use. And we let them, from iPads, from iPhones, from tablets, access through a VPN type technology your existing data that you have, file shares, SharePoints, different resources in the company, but also create their own personal drive, like a Google Drive or a Dropbox type solution, with the key differentiator being it's fully 100% on-premise. So this is the major difference between consumer and corporate type solutions. We do not put anything in a public cloud. All this data is kept on premise of the customer, which allows this to be backed up, to be logged, and so forth. So the customer using this solution has, the IT has full control. Like I said, we proactively give the functionality that the users are used to in their private life in a secure corporate way. We integrate with Active Directory. We give all the user policies, we take them from the system. We don't create new ones. We don't create new data, we give access to those file shares and SharePoints, etc., which are already there. We create a Dropbox type space for the user, but it's on-premise. It's on the servers inside the company. Every activity is logged. We have full logs for the auditing if it's needed. We, like I mentioned, run on-premise with Active Directory. We give user policies where we can create different space if we have the management that needs more space. If we need people to have access to different things, we can control that centrally. The client of the software running on the devices has Office editing capability built in, which means we are working in a secure sandbox. We are not leaving the application to open it in third-party editing applications. And the system is very intuitive. It's very easy to use, which is also important because I've been involved in a lot of testing with customers and implementations, and one of the important things is, on top of the mind of the IT, is it's a nice solution, but will the users really adapt to it and use it quickly? So yes, in this case, we have a lot of experience that customers do use it. Here is an example of the user interface. I have this running on my devices. I can show you during a break exactly a live system. You know, we give, first of all, a browser, which is not available on an iOS device, for example. We give access to offline documents, which can be synchronized with the servers. We give network locations that we can access. Like I said, built-in editing. Every feature can be switched on and off by the administrator. So if we don't want our users to be able to email documents from that application and only have it locked to that device, we can configure that. We have a lot of customers already. Like I said, the product originated from the financial industry. So the early adopters, the first companies who use this solution are mainly banks and insurance companies. We also have a lot of government companies, government users. The City of Stockholm is a recent one. More than 20,000 employees of the City of Stockholm and the school system and the public administration are using this. We have the Swiss government as a user, NASA, Adidas. So we have quite a lot of references. It's a stable solution. It's quite easy to implement because, like I said, we don't really create any new data. We put in a very simple gateway that connects the existing data that you have to mobile devices and to a storage location where we can create the Dropbox type solution for the users. We encourage customers to get in touch with a partner or distributor or directly to Acronis. We can set up we can give trial licenses with full functionality so you can use and test. We're happy to share our experience with customers that have already implemented the solution. And that's it really from my side at this stage. So I really apologize for all the technical issues I had. I wanted to show you a little bit more. I welcome any questions you might have related to this. Yep.
Do you have a limitation of the Dropbox size?
No, but that's a good question. The question was, is there a limitation of the Dropbox size? No, there isn't. The system is licensed per user. So we have a license, for example, if you have 100 employees in your company, we would sell 100 licenses, and the cost is roughly, depending on the size, it's between 50 and 100 euros per user. That's the cost of the license. And then you decide as the administrator of the system or the management how much space you want to give to your people. Because remember, we don't keep any data, Acronis. All the data is on your storage, so you decide if you want to give 10 gigabytes or 100 gigabytes or a terabyte or unlimited to each user. Yeah. But thank you for the question. Yeah. Okay. Good. Well, thank you for your attention, and again, I apologize for the technical issues.